Hey guys, welcome back to the Book Room Comedy Club. It is the end of 2020 and I thought the best way to celebrate that is to have a look at some of the best bits from this year's stand-up. Let's get straight into it. What is going on with Welsh Lockdown, guys? The Welsh government has decided that the best thing to do coming up to winter is to say, oh, you can't buy any clothes or blankets. What? No clothes, no blankets, no cookware, but you can buy alcohol. Or you can't buy DIY equipment either, because it wouldn't be essential. So, clothes aren't essential in Wales now, but alcohol is. So, basically, coming up to winter, the Welsh government decided clothes optional. I don't know where to start with this, because what would you think when you saw Wales? Would you think that's a tropical place where you don't need to put a jacket on? Because I'll tell you what, I've been there, and jacket's not optional. Not in winter anyway. It's ridiculous. We're about this far from right now from having kids have to go to school. Instead of a uniform, they've got on used cardboard that they've cut out from the cartons that cheap-ass supermarket box wine comes in. That's how close we are to that in Wales. And I can't work this out. If you think, well, I don't need clothes, but I'll have some alcohol, are you really the type of person who needs to be in government? When I saw the moon was trending on Twitter, the first thing I thought was, Trump said something, hasn't he? You can just see it now. He's there in the White House having a look out the window. It's like, I'm president, you know. All this, I rule it. Where's the moon? Where's the moon gone? NASA, Iran's nicked the moon. Come on. They've nicked it. Come and get it back. Hello, Mr. President. No, if you just turn this way, please. There it is. But it was over there earlier on. Yes, Mr. President. Yes, it was over there earlier on. But the thing about the moon is, it goes through the sky. Are you telling me they can move the moon? Yes, Mr. President, of course they can. They can move them, but don't worry. Don't worry. In 24 hours, we'll have put it back. It'll be back. You know where you saw it earlier on? If you come back to the window at that time tomorrow, we'll have put it back for you. Say, well, thank you very much. You know, I'm president. I'm very smart. Say, yes, Mr. President. Come on. We're just going to take you back to bed. I'm president. You know, I'm very, very smart. That is what I thought. Now, the reason I thought that is partly because it was funny to me, but mainly because the alternatives in 2020 are not exactly good, are they? If you think about this, when you see a celebrity mentioned in 2020 on Twitter, there are three things that can have happened. First of all, they may have died, because we've had that for years. It's basically just the great culling. All the cool people have left, and now we know why, because they were getting out before COVID arrived, which is the second thing that comes to mind when you hear someone mentioned on Twitter. So when you see the moon trending on Twitter, it's either it's disappeared, it's got COVID, or the third option, it's been accused of sexual misconduct. Now, you might think that it's hard for the moon to be accused of that, but this is 2020, so anything goes. And I thought, well, how could the moon have possibly done something wrong? And I thought, well, the man in the moon, he has been waxing and waning in public for centuries. Now, hear me out. I know we've all seen it, waxing on and waxing off up there for many, many years. And none of us have dared say anything because the moon is powerful. It controls the tides. But our brave scientists at NASA, they have said, no, we will not allow this anymore. We're going to call you out, Mr. Man in the Moon, with your misconduct and your controlling of the tide. You think you're so great, but we have tide machines now. We don't need you anymore. We're going to stand up to you. None of that happened, of course. They're going to make some weird announcement, aren't they? Something like Trump's decided that in order to deal with the alien threat, we're going to build a wall. We're going to build a wall on the moon and Mars is going to pay for it. Let's take me, for example, as an example of what I was talking about with human nature. We are built to rebel. Basically, we think that we're adults. But the fact is, we never grew out of our rebellious teenage phase. We just don't live with our parents anymore, so we don't know that we don't like being told to do things anymore. That's how it is. That's how it is. But take me, for example, and not just because literally I have no one else to take advantage of here because Jen has left and the government has said that no one else can come in. But we'll take me as an example. I love Star Trek. Absolutely love it. I adore Star Trek. I could watch episodes of Star Trek all day, be perfectly happy. But the moment someone tells me I have to watch Star Trek, all of a sudden the appeal of sitting there eating crisps and probably putting the subtitles on so I can hear what's going on over the munching, that all goes away because when someone says you must do this, it's a bit in the back of my head, it's just a tiny nagging feeling. It's gone, you know what? I'm not so sure about this. Is all of creation worth it? As an experiment, this whole world and life thing, do you think, is it really that important? Because I kind of want to watch the news instead. We are psychologically built to rebel. It's just how it is. The moment, and don't look at me funny, I can tell you right now, you have had these thoughts as well. We've all had them. The moment we're told to do something, we don't want to do it anymore. It doesn't matter what it is. Like, I think I'll have a cup of tea. That is a great idea. I demand that you have a cup of tea. Well, now I'm not going to. I will have coffee instead. What do you think of that? Everyone does it. I don't care who you are, where you came from. That's what you're like. We are, as a species, built to rebel. That's why there's an entire universe out there, and we've hardly looked at or explored any of it. We send robots to do our exploring now, and you know why? It's not because it's cheaper, it's because when we tell them to do something, they actually do it. Now, I'm sorry, guys, but I didn't know a couple of 70-odd-year-old men could maintain an election for 4 days. I'm sorry, if you have an election going on for more than 24 hours, something's wrong. You need to consult your doctor. You need to consult an expert. Because, what are you doing, Jen? Jenny is attacking the camp. We set up this properly. I thought it was fine. I won't stand too far back then. Is that the problem? Fine. Apparently, I'm absolutely centered. So if I do this, it gets really, really annoying for people. But I tell you, I'm not joking. Consult your physician if your election goes on for 24 hours or more. You need help. My goodness. But the best part is, throughout all of this process, Donald Trump has been having a meltdown, and it is live on Twitter, and it is amazing to watch. It is so funny. I've been trolling the guy all week. It's like the day before the finale came, I had the Eiffel 65 song Blue in my head. So I asked him on Twitter, I've got this song Blue in my head. Do you have any idea why? He's been going nuts and it's so funny. But you know this isn't even the pinnacle of it. The best part is coming on his last day. Tell you right now, his last day in office, he is going to barricade himself into the Oval Office. He's going to hide under the Resolute desks at the the Secret Service can't possibly find him. That's what's going to happen. And when they do find him, I know how it's going to go down. Hello, Mr. Trump. I'm sorry, but it's time to go. No, I don't want to. But you have to, Mr. Trump. It's Mr. Biden's turn now. You've got to let him have a go. No, I don't want to. I want 5 more minutes. But that wouldn't be fair, Mr. Trump. You have to play fair. No, I don't want to. I want to stay. They are going to have to drag him out of that house, kicking and screaming. He's not going to go lightly. He is not going to go quietly into this good night, as the Americans would say. He'll be dragged out, kicking and screaming, and hopefully on live TV, because I need to see that. The world needs to see that. It'll be excellent reality television, and the crowning achievement of that orange idiot's career. Do people who take a DNA test worry because they didn't revise? I worry about this sort of thing. Now you can too. Now, you might say, what are you talking about? You can't possibly revise for a DNA test. How could you fail it? You may be true. Maybe you're right. Maybe the answers were inside us all along. It's quite a possibility. But as a counter-argument, I submit all those photos and videos and nights out that you've ever seen on a Friday and Saturday night in any city centre in the UK. You know what I'm talking about. Those stumbling, slurred speech maniacs that only appear late at night. They go along and they stumble. They can't speak and stand upright at the same time. Are you telling me that those people could pass a DNA test? Because I am not so sure. I can see it now. The BBC is going to have some nature documentaries on this by the end of the next decade. I guarantee it. I can see the titles now. Walking with Hominids. Or maybe something a bit more dramatic, like The Land Where Time Gave Up. Because, I don't know about you and me, but if we were to meet Mother Nature and she was a person, she would take one look at some of those stumbling wretches and say to us, nope, I am not taking any credit for those things. You're on your own with them. I guarantee it. How you present yourself to others is important. So, as an example of that, why, when we know someone is coming to our house, do we do our utmost to make sure our house looks nothing like it normally would before they arrive? Do you think that we're fooling anyone at all with this charade that we do? Do you think that when you go into someone's house and it smells like Clorox and new paint, that they live in that kind of environment? We can spend days, when we know that someone's coming around, preparing by tidying, cleaning, painting, hoovering, you know what. And then when they come through the door, you'll say, sorry about the mess. Does anyone think that we are fooling anyone? Why don't we just be honest? Why don't we say honest things like, hi Mum, hi Dad, I'm sorry, I forgot you were coming. That's why you can't see the floor for pizza boxes, and I'm wearing what appears to be a toga made out of a bedsheet that I've grabbed in a rush. Yeah, I know. I've kept you too long already, so thanks for coming, I'll see you later. Why can't we just be honest? Honesty is the best policy. Do you remember when we were kids? Remember when television and books told us about life in the 21st century, tomorrow's world and all that? Do you remember all the things that they used to say? How it was going to be great. We were going to have people living on the moon. We were going to have space travel. Information would be sent and received at the speed of thought. It was going to be amazing. Well, back in the 20th century when I was a kid, I watched those shows. I read those books. I liked what I saw. I really looked forward to living in the future. Now I'm here. Kind of want to go back, please. This isn't what I signed up for. Can I see the manager? What can I say? Science fiction is like a travel agent con artist. It's one of those situations. They show you all the really nice stuff. It's set up as if it's a nice photograph, and it's carefully positioned to show you only the things that you'll want to see. Doesn't matter about all the stuff behind. There's a massive dumpster fire over there. A load of people that are killing each other over there. Back here, it's just a giant pile of poo. But none of that's in the camera. None of that's on the frame. So you see that little bit, and that's what you're sold on. The minute you sign up for that holiday, though, and you get there to your destination, you find out that your hotel is a cardboard box on top of a skip full of live rats. Well, you're a bit stuck then, so you might as well make the most of it. That's what you think, isn't it? You'll go to the bar, but it turns out the bar is just a septic tank with a straw in it. Enjoy! That's the situation we're in. We were sold an amazing life in the future, and what we got is this. But we kind of do have space travel. It wasn't all made up and it wasn't all to sell us crap. We kind of got space travel, but you probably won't be able to do it. We don't have people living on the moon, so we can't get them on that. We can get them on false advertising. But the travel agent's shut now. It's lockdown, so you can't get them. It's terrible. It really is. And we do sort of have information that flows at the speed of thought. But if your neighbours have just bought an Xbox or a PS5, well, you won't be getting any of it because they're going to be downloading updates. It's just, that's how life is. That's the way it is. Have you ever had a conversation with an American where it looks like they're speaking English, but really they're kind of not? They've actually got this weird code that sounds like English, but only they properly understand it. I'll give you an explanation. I watch a lot of videos on YouTube. I think you probably all do because it's the lockdown and there's not much else to do, is there? Let's face it. So I've been getting some very strange adverts, and one of the adverts I've been getting is unskippable, and it's really annoying because it's this actor who's pretending to be a Russian builder. And he's not Russian. It's quite obvious he's not Russian, but he acts Russian. And he tries to explain to you what excellence is. Now, I'm sorry, Mr. Russian builder who's not Russian, but I know what excellence is. I speak English. I know what excellence is. I may not demonstrate it. I may have been sat in my pyjamas at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, still in bed eating crisps and watching YouTube. I may not be demonstrating excellence, but I understand what it is. So don't go patronising me. It's very, very annoying. Philip Page says a hairbrush would be better than the mic. Yeah, but if I smack Jen with a hairbrush, it doesn't have the same comedy sound as this. Ow! Evil, isn't it? Yeah. I don't know if you can even hear that. But the other thing is, there was this other advert, because YouTube hasn't insulted me enough with this patronising thing. They also want to try and sell me diets with diet adverts, and it's always Americans that are in these adverts, because it's something that you'll probably have noticed. So with adverts, an American voice has a tendency to make things sound more cool to British people and more desirable. So they get a lot of Americans in to talk about this stuff. But it doesn't work when it comes to diets because of the code, the American language code. We don't speak the same language they do when it comes to weights and measures. And as a result, we have this odd situation. Oh, on this new diet, I lost 120 pounds. To an American, that sounds great. To me, as a Brit, that sounds expensive. 120 pounds. Our currency's pounds. So, how it goes in my head is this. This new diet is great. I lost 120 pounds. My goodness, that sounds expensive. Were you scammed? Did you get your money back? That's how it is. And it's not just that, but the claims are also ridiculous. 120 pounds. I converted that to proper weights and measures. That's 8 stone and a bit. That is the weight of an average child. So who have they got claiming that they've lost 120 pounds? They have a stick-thin, lovely-looking model with tight skin. And I'm sorry, but there is no way you are convincing me that that woman lost a child's worth of weight and doesn't show it. That's some excellent plastic surgery right there. Either that or she's got the biggest crocodile clip just on the back of her head, pulling all of her skin backwards, because come on. It's like that thing from Men in Black. It's like, and just pulling the skin tight. It's like, hello, is that better? Is that more believable? That's what I see with that. So a more let's see if we can get a more believable advert. How about this? Hi, I've got a new diet and it's wonderful. I lost 10 pounds. All right, I can believe that. It is expensive, but you know, diet books are specialists, so I can understand you having to pay that much. That's more believable to me. £10, it's not a huge amount. It's like a stone and a bit, isn't it? So, yeah, I could believe that on a diet. That would be something that I would actually buy that diet. Let's put it that way. Because, yeah, that's more like it for me. But while I was talking, I am terrible for knocking this microphone. So I have to be careful. Normally I'm further away from the camera and the mic. Let's put it that way. So the funny thing is, I was talking to Jen about this advert, and she pointed out that there is one specific circumstance where we actually do use the American code for talking about weights. And it comes down... Jen, why are you destroying this entire room off the camera? You're a menace, woman. You're a menace. Jen is just destroying. She's going to demolish my room and put up another model train. I know what's going on. That's the plan. That's the plan. If I disappear halfway through this set, that's what it is. But she did mention one thing. So, she mentioned that in one specific circumstance, we use the American system for talking about weight. And that is when we're discussing babies. And I've worked out the reason for that. It's because babies, being very, very small, well, it's a bit of a handful, but you could technically put it in a recipe. And that's where it comes from. Weights and measures. A baby is about the size of something that might go on a list of ingredients, so we do discuss weights for certain people in the American system. But this causes a lot of problem for me as well, because I get into situations like this. Hey, I've just had a baby. It was 17 pounds. Labour was hell. My goodness. Congratulations. That is one expensive baby. Every time. I can't help it. It's every single time. And that is why often when you see me in the street, I will look like I've just been chased down the road by a new mother who just wants to beat me up with a packet of new nappies. Which I suppose is better than being beaten up with a packet of old nappies. So there is that. There's a bright side to everything. He said, liberals, what's their problem? They have 3,000 genders. And that got me thinking. Mostly it got me thinking, what on earth is this guy on about? But I have to assume that he read that off his phone, because that is not something that normally people who are normal would say to another person in everyday conversation. Certainly not in the street. He's got to have read it off his phone, because it really sounds like the kind of thing that you would hear someone put a comment on a Twitter or a YouTube comment thread. It's the kind of comment that edgelords say to other edgelords to tell them, yes, I am still a prick. That's the kind of level that we're at. And yes, I am going there, guys. Be ready for this. So, you've got to love these two genders crowds, haven't you? Because they're just ridiculous. They might as well argue that there are only two Pokemon. We made up genders. They're a useful tool. You can demonstrate a lot of things by talking about genders. And it's a purpose that, one time, having two of them, they worked. You could differentiate one from another, and that was useful. But now we want to talk about something a bit more wide, and we've added extra ones. You don't have to use them. Some people will. It's perfectly fine. But there are people who act as if they're real, as if they're scientific. So one person is that, and one person is that, and you can't be both or neither or anywhere in between. You must be that or that. It's science, don't you know? But it's not science. So let's get into this. For example, I cannot go and grab an electron microscope. Well, I probably can't because they're quite big. You couldn't grab one anyway. But if I couldn't grab an electron microscope and then take a look at the number of electrons that boy has and determine its atomic weight. I couldn't look on a periodic table and find the atomic weight of a dude. This is it. There's no science behind it. No one can tell me in a scientific textbook whether girls bond with one another covalently or ionically. There is no science to this. That monster is waving again. It's weird. All those scientists out there, they're not going out, all those gender studies scientists, they're not going out there and determining how many isotopes exist of the common gent. There's no one doing this. You can't go out and discover what the half-life of a ditzy 90s valley girl is, or if they reach that half-life, you can't tell me what they break down into, because it's not science. It was a useful definition at one point, but now we have moved on. So, to those people who do hang on to this weird notion of only two genders, can you please explain to me one thing? Why does it become so important to you what other people have in their pants? Can't you concentrate on your own pants and leave everyone else alone? Stop being weird about people's pants, you freaks. And okay, thank you so much for watching. I hope you did enjoy that. We may even do a second part of this, but if we don't, and either if we do or we don't, I will see you next year in 2021 for more stand-up. So take care, stay safe, and I'll see you soon. Bye! If you like the show, please consider supporting me on Patreon. It really does help create future videos. That's patreon.com/Zoe Kirk-Robinson. And I've got an extra special thanks going out to Chief89, Tepic, Sam Yates, and Retro Mickey 82. Thank you so much, guys.